Hi, it's Matt Gizmo Guy here, and I'm testing out a new webcam that I got. Logitech has introduced a very cheap, under $30 QuickCam for business that is a 640 by 480 resolution web camera. It is UVC USB video class compliant, so it makes a fairly good choice for the Mac. I'm pretty impressed by this camera. Most cameras 30 bucks and under seem to have some major problems. This one has Logitech's RightLight light sensitivity features built into it, and the color balance is really good, very natural. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door in my apartment here, and you'll see that it darkened out a little bit and then lightened up again. I'm going to turn off the lamp that's near my desk and drop a little bit more of the light here. And this camera just brightened up a notch or two. You can actually see it kind of do these shifts. But this camera has really impressive light sensitivity. Right now, all you're really seeing is the glow of the computer screen and a little bit from the doorway behind me. I'll turn on one of the lamps I have, and then I'll reopen the door and be back in a second. There we go, we let in the light. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut over and I'll actually show you the little Logitech QuickCam and some of its features and elements of its design and stuff. But from what I can see so far, this may be one of the best 30-buck webcams that I've ever seen. So I'll cut. Okay, well here's this little QuickCam for business from Logitech. What I discovered was UVC compliant webcam, which makes it a good choice for Apple Mac on system 10.4 and 10.5. It's plug and play with no driver install needed, as long as you have a USB 2.0 speed port. It's a fairly small little camera. One of the things I liked is on its USB 2.0 cable, it has a very small choke. Many USB cables have a rather big and clunky one, so at least the choke on this it doesn't weigh a ½ pound and it's very compact and tiny. It has about a 6-foot cable on it, reasonably thin and flexible. It has a very basic but pretty well designed clamp mechanism that tilts down, and one thing I like about it is this is really tight, so this isn't loose and sloppy. When you squeeze and grip against something, it holds it fairly well. It has an inset section that's made out of rubber, and there are rubber pads along the front edge here as well. So when it grips onto something, it does tend to have a good grip, and that's smart design. And also this center section here also pivots and tilts forward as well. So you can use that to stabilize it even further. This whole section here is a very rubbery material. So kudos to Logitech for doing what they do well, and that is design superior products. And so this clip is a lot better. I've seen many that have the same thing, but they're loose and sloppy. They don't have a good grip to them. They don't have rubber pads to hang on and that. So I find that this little webcam is a pretty stable little device. It can also sit flat and mount it on a desktop. It has a tilt and pivotable head on it, which is reasonably good. It tends to pretty much stay put where it is. This webcam is pretty basic, 640 by 480 sensor, but good clarity and sharpness, very good light sensitivity. It has their RightLight 2 technology built into it, so when there's sudden changes of light, you'll see the camera shift and adapt to it. One of the challenges for Mac users with their RightLight 2 technology is that in low lighting conditions, you may find that your frame rate drops and things can be pretty sluggish. But in terms of photography in general, you need adequate light, so the more light you have, I found the better kind of the frame rate you're going to get out of this. It does have a built-in LED to let you know when the camera is on. There are a few holes here. It does have a built-in microphone, which for some Macs that don't include one, and there were a few that did that, that can be handy. The sound quality is not awful. It's not great. It does sound a little hollow, but it's not the worst built-in microphone that I've heard. It does have a little snapshot button on top. Unfortunately, for Apple Mac users, there isn't software that supports that. On the Windows side, quite a few have them where you can just press this and it'll take a snapshot of what's on screen. The problem, and in a way this is so stupid, most web cameras, when you press the little snapshot, you bump and you move the camera and it dips down and you get a blurred image because you touched the damn thing. So I'm not really fond of the idea of taking a snapshot. There are other ways to just grab a frame out of a video segment to get what you want. But anyway, of the $30 and less UVC compliant webcams that I've tested so far, my favorite has been a basic Hercules webcam that's in the $30 price range. But this one here I actually stumbled across in a Linux forum discussing this cam as a fairly good choice for Linux users as well because of UVC video class compliance in many Linux distributions. So for them, this is one of the better $30 webcams I've seen. If you had to choose between this and that crappy ass McAlley webcam, this is a much better one to buy. For other webcams that are fully Mac compatible, some that have a higher quality, higher resolution, better autofocus features and that, visit my website, maccompatiblewebcam.com. The last thing I forgot to mention about this is this does have an adjustable focus. You'll see that the front lens is beveled and tapered down, and this thing is just about impossible to get a grip on to adjust it. But hey, that's what you get. That was the trade-off. A stupid lens design. It does have little dimples in it to try to grab it, but you have to really grab the camera itself and then you can adjust it. It'd be almost the perfect camera, except for it has a real sucky front lens that's hard and your fingers slip and you can't hardly adjust the focus. But what do you want for $30?